Part 15. I'm Really Immortal. Author, Chulian Kuikan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 141. Qinyanan is a normal girl. She thinks about problems very realistically and does not have so many unrealistic fantasies. Little girls are really enviable. Qinyanan sighed softly. If she were only as old as Zhu Huntang, she would accompany her to have all the imagination. Boundless fantasy. Qinyanan knew that Yechinayu and Lu Chang'an had been to Taiwan together. If Lu Chang'an was Yechinayu, how could he still stay peacefully in Junsha? Although Qinyanan didn't know what happened at Zhu's house that day, there were various signs that it was definitely not Lu Chang'an who went to see Mrs. Su. Qinyanan didn't plan to talk to Zhu Huntang about this, but just said a very simple reason: if Lu Chang'an was senior Ye, how could he fall in love with an 18-year-old girl? How could he be interested in going to high school? Zhu Huntang was stunned for a moment. She had never thought about this problem. Doesn't he look very young? Maybe he still has this desire, Zhu Huntang said with some uncertainty. Lu Chang'an lived where he lives now when he was in junior high school. He was 16 when he entered high school. The photos on the file are obviously more youthful and immature than now. If he were the immortal Ye you mentioned, he would be. Is that so? Zhu Huntang thought about it carefully. If Lu Chang'an was Yechinayu, how could he go to school? This is very important. How could a man over 100 years old do such a boring and time-wasting thing? Yes, Lu Chang'an pretends to be very similar in other aspects, much like an old man over 100 years old, but he has to go to school. Even if it is me, I will go to school here until September, and the same goes for Lu Chang'an. The traditional habit of Chinese people and what is not negotiable is that they must go to school. If Lu Chang'an was really Yechinayu, why would he study or go to high school to fall in love with a beautiful girl? Does this look like the mentality of an elder? That's too old to cultivate. By the way, he even touched Zhongcheng. Is this something an elder would do? Although there are some old men who are bad and lustful, who is Yechinayu? Could the person Qin Peng and Su Mei were thinking about like this be that kind of guy? Zhu Huntang was angry and felt that he had been deceived by Lu Chang'an. From the first meeting, he had no intention of telling the truth to Zhu Huntang and started talking nonsense. Thinking about it carefully, regarding his superpower, I have only seen him jump off a building once. What is the mystery behind it? Could it be a magic-like concept? Suspicion is like a crack in glass. If it is not repaired, it will spread apart. Zhu Huntang firmly believes that he witnessed Lu Chang'an jumping off the building with his own eyes, but what if such a shocking scene was a magic trick? After all, the performances of many great magicians may be even more incredible. Apart from this, Lu Chang'an has never been seen to have any other superpowers besides being a good fighter. By the way, if he really has superpowers and can really jump off a building without dying, why will he never jump off a building again? Because magic shows are just like that, just some small magic tricks. If it is a large-scale magic trick or a complicated magic trick, it is impossible to complete it without careful preparation. If you perform at any time and anywhere, it is a trivial matter to expose your flaws, and it may even endanger your life. This is probably the reason why Lu Chang'an refuses to perform anymore no matter what. Zhu Huntang was immediately frustrated. He felt that this colorful world had become extremely boring again. Qinyanan was not Yesijin. Even Lu Chang'an was a big liar. What's wrong with you? You don't believe this all the time, do you? Qinyanan looked at Zhu Huntang's expression. How could he not understand what she was thinking? I couldn't help but laugh and cry. You're not a child anymore. When I was a kid, I performed magic tricks on you, and you always wanted to expose me. Why do you become more and more willing to believe in these nonsense now? Ah! Zhu Huntang splashed the water and shouted, climbed out of the swimming pool, took off his towel, and lay angrily on the lounge chair by the swimming pool, motionless. He was obviously the one who guided Qin Yanan, but how could he be shaken by what she said in the end? Even if I now suspect that what Lu Chang'an performed that day was magic, why did he go there to perform magic? Are you crazy? Yes, Lu Chang'an is insane, but how did he get up there? Zhu Huntang was wandering between belief and doubt, his mind was getting more and more confused, and he felt like he was going crazy. I'm going to Hunan University for business, do you want to go with me? Zhu Huntang nodded lazily. Lu Chang'an is still very good at fighting, isn't he? Qin Yanan and Zhu Huntang left the office of the president of Hunan University. Zhu Huntang was absent-minded about the conversation in the office just now. When he left the door, he continued to chat with Qin Yanan about Lu Chang'an. Well, he is indeed a genius in this area. Qin Yanan nodded. It is said that this is a family secret. My great-grandfather also practiced it. He can get a lot of advantages when using it with bare hands. Of course, it is not very useful in war, I've also learned a little bit, and it's enough for self-defense. When he was fighting, was there smoke all over his body, paws in the air, fire in his palms, or was he extremely powerful? May I recommend a fantasy novel to you? Zhu Huntang is depressed. That's how people are. Once they have doubts about something they firmly believe in, this doubt will be like a sprout, breaking through the hard earth and stone, tearing apart the originally solid obstacles and shell bit by bit. I'm going to find Lu Chang'an. Zhu Huntang turned around and prepared to leave. As soon as she turned around, she saw two beautiful women. She was already depressed, but now she was even more angry. Why did Bailong Center only have 2 buildings? The name of Building 3 was reserved in advance for this unknown woman. We meet again, Lu Yuwang said to Qin Yanan with a smile. The campus of Hunan University is lined with green trees. The trees in the old campus are often decades old. Some towering trees that are 20 to 30 meters high, or even 30 to 40 meters high, block out the sky and the sun. Under the canopy are the earliest trees. The school buildings and teaching buildings here are like the old times, slowly spreading out. No matter how much fresh blood and vitality flows into it, it cannot wash away the charm left by this history. Lu Yuwang often walks here with An Nuan. In Lu Yuwang's words, the place where you walk can also affect a person's temperament. Women who often wander around the streets and shopping malls to relax, and often on the campus of Hunan University, a woman walking has a completely different temperament. An Nuan was wearing flat sneakers, and Lu Yuwang was wearing high heels. There was not much height difference between the mother and daughter, otherwise Lu Yuwang wouldn't be able to wear An Nuan's cheongsam. An Nuan stood in the shade of the trees and the light and shadow were intertwined. As if contaminated by these beautiful radiances, her skin is as jade-like, green onion-like, and ivory-like, and it is really beautiful. If it were him, Zhu Huntang would take a selfie and hang it in the room. Why are you looking for Lu Chang'an? An Nuan heard Zhu Huntang talking and asked with a smile. Why do you ask me? Zhu Huntang stared at An Nuan without saying a word. Lu Chang'an knows magic, and I want to see him perform magic. Qin Yanan came to the rescue while looking at An Nuan and Lu Yuwang. Even compared to Zhu Huntang and the third wife, this mother and daughter were not far behind. He can also perform magic. Lu Yuwang frowned slightly and took out his mobile phone. He was about to find someone to ask if all men who can do magic like to lie, but then he thought it was not the right time and gave up. Are you someone from An Nuan? Zhu Huntang was not sure whether Lu Yuwang was An Nuan's sister or mother. Of course, most people would take Lu Yuwang as his sister as a matter of course, but Zhu Huntang would not, because his mother was regarded as her sister. Too sparse and commonplace. I am her mother. Do you know An Nuan? Lu Yuwang looked a little surprised. You all know Lu Chang'an, right? All Lu Chang'an knew were beautiful women. Lu Yuwang looked at the calm-looking daughter beside him with some worry. How could this silly girl pretend to be calm and composed? Sorry, I was attacked by the Sandman last night. I didn't have enough skills to resist, and I failed miserably. It started to explode today, and I will reward you with 1,000,000 alliances in the 5th update. I'm really immortal. Author, Chulian Kuikan Rusiahua. Chapter 142. En Nuan's expression was calm and composed. But she is not a stupid girl. Qinyanan is Lu Chang'an's cousin. She is 7 years older. This age is quite embarrassing. It is definitely inappropriate to fall in love with Lu Chang'an, and there is no temptation of a mature woman. Lu Chang'an really makes people feel that he is interested in older women. As for this Zhu Huntang, she is very good looking and very cute. And she is not the kind of girl who has no choice but to take the cute route, but she is cute and adorable, like a doll. That type. However, En Nuan felt that Zhu Huntang and Bai Hui had similar feelings. They both had certain characteristics that attracted boys, but they also had certain characteristics that boys found intolerable. In the final analysis, the girl Lu Chang'an likes, is like En Nuan. Lu Chang'an would not like a girl like En Nuan. Otherwise, why wouldn't he be tolerant, proactive, and gentle to other girls? Woolen cloth? Who is the most like En Nuan here? En Nuan is like a mirror in her heart, she is not some silly girl. Isn't it the first time that Professor Lu met Lu Chang'an today? Qinyanan looked at En Nuan after saying, I'm sorry, we bumped into each other today and both wanted to buy sheep heads. Later Professor Lu gave it to us. Lu Yuang told En Nuan about this matter, and En Nuan knew about it. Her mother just described what happened in an understatement, and did not comment on Lu Chang'an actually competing with her for the sheep's head. En Nuan should break up with Lu Chang'an, and let En Nuan felt a little surprised. Lu Chang'an is the best at cooking. It seems you are in for a treat at noon today. My knife skills are also very good. This is really good. Some restaurants like to ask the chefs to come out and perform roast duck, carved beef, barbecue, and so on. It makes me embarrassed. Is there any level of skill shown? Lu Chang'an is different. Zhu Huntang was about to praise Lu Chang'an, but at this time his face fell again, and he turned away and didn't want to speak anymore. Lu Chang'an is a big liar. Zhu Huntang's eyebrows were dancing and he looked angry, but he had no intention of hiding it. En Nuan saw it and felt a little happy. Professor Lu is a professor at Hunan University, right? Qinyanan asked again. Yes. I should also join Hunan University in August, but I won't be a professor, I'll probably be a counselor or something like that. That's not bad, the monthly salary of a full-time counselor in our school can reach 7,000. The workload is not large, but it is quite tedious. Many jobs are also done online, and the pressure is reduced year by year. If you are interested in academics, apply for ideological and political projects. It's possible, and the counselors in our school can be at the administrative level, and some have been promoted to college and school leaders. Although Lu Yuang doesn't pay much attention to these things, after all, he has been at Hunan University for many years, and he can still give some tips. Of the younger generation. It seems that my cousin is going to be our counselor, and Nuan had such a hunch and looked at Qinyanan tentatively. Qinyanan smiled and said, it all depends on the school's arrangements. If that's true, that would be great. That's what Lu Yuang said. It doesn't matter who becomes En Nuan's counselor. Lu Yuang will naturally take care of En Nuan and take care of her. No special request is needed. Only she, Qinyanan, can do it. I also want to come to Hunan University to study. Zhu Huntang looked around. Professor Lu, will you be my teacher? I have very few classes. Lu Yuang glanced at Zhu Huntang. This was like a primary school student's question, how was your college entrance examination? I don't take the college entrance examination. Lu Yuang nodded casually. That was not flattering. Originally, En Nuan could have been admitted to the school, but Lu Yuang felt that it was not necessary. If he could pass the exam on his own, what quota would he get for admission? Especially during this year's college entrance examination, there were students who had been recommended or were preparing to study abroad, holding signs outside the college entrance examination room to cheer for the college entrance examination candidates, which made Lu Yuang, who had always been disgusted with showing off, very disgusted. "Professor Lu, we have something else to do, so I won't interrupt you." The common topic was that we all knew Lu Chang'an. In fact, there was nothing to say. After saying hello, Qin Yinan said goodbye. "Goodbye, see you next semester." Lu Yuang waved. Watching Qin Yinan and Zhu Huntang leave, Lu Yuang took An Nuan to the bathroom and said hurriedly, "Oh, there's a mosquito biting my neck again, please apply some toilet water on me." An Nuan took out the gourd water from Lu Yuang's bag and opened the zipper on the back of her neck. There were obvious small swellings on her jade-white skin. An Nuan wondered, "When did you bite me? You were not early." "Explain." "Just now." "Then you're fine and like a normal person." "But, maybe they are all your love rivals. If I try to find someone else in front of them, won't that make you lose your status? Are you thinking too much? What's wrong with this? I'm in love with Lu Chang'an, and you have so many things to do. Why are you talking? You heartless little girl. You are so troublesome. Are you going to tell me later that Lu Chang'an knows so many beauties and I should break up with him? I'm just talking. It's your business to listen or not. Did I force you?" Annoyed, An Nuan applied toilet water, walked out of the bathroom hand in hand with Lu Yuang, and continued walking. "I want to eat beer duck tonight." "No, eat something lighter. I'm competing these days. I eat too oily and meaty food. It might affect my stomach. Just watch me eat." "Really, it's not like my daughter to gain weight after eating some meat." "I don't." Qin Yinan and Zhu Huntang left. Qin Yinan looked at himself in the mirror, thinking about the appearance of Lu Yuang and the third wife, and couldn't help but worry. "When I was your mother or Professor Liu's age, I felt that I couldn't take care of myself like them. So good. I think this Professor Liu is more powerful. After all, she looks very poor and cannot take care of herself like my mother." Zhu Huntang sighed, "This is probably the same natural beauty as me." Qin Yinan rolled her eyes at Zhu Huntang and said, "People are not poor. Don't always use your own family as the standard. Let's not talk about them. Lu Chang'an beat Pu Shaogang last time, and now he is even more popular on the internet." Zhu Huntang is also a celebrity on the internet in Taiwan. She is very popular, but she is always aloof. Whether the fairy is red or not, it will not affect her daily life. Nang Xinrui and her work unit have been interviewed, and her Weibo account has also been blocked. "It's really a suicide attempt," Qin Yinan sneered, then turned to look at Zhu Huntang and smiled, "But I'm warning you. Lu Chang'an has a girlfriend." "What do you mean?" Zhu Huntang looked at Qin Yinan suspiciously. "When a girl starts to like a boy, she always pays too much attention to him." "I'm following orders. What about you?" Qin Yinan hooked Zhu Huntang's chin. "Are you excited, little beauty?" "But," Zhu Huntang looked confident and showed no guilt at all, "I don't have any. It's Lu Chang'an who is crazy. He lied to me and said he knew Qin Shiwang." Qin Yinan was stunned, then laughed in surprise, and had to stop the car on the side of the road. "What are you laughing? Hello, I am Qin Shiwang. I took the elixir of life and survived. Now there are countless assets sealed in the Imperial Mausoleum. Countless overseas assets have been seized and cannot be unfrozen. Now I need you to help me. Assist me with 5,000 yuan, etc. I succeeded and gave you 10,000 taels of gold and 1 billion in cash. I also made you the Grand Marshal of the Army and the Hereditary King. My Alipay account is Yingzheng." After Qin Yinan finished speaking, she leaned on the steering wheel and laughed so hard she felt like her abs were growing. "Zhu Huntang, this idiot fairy. All kinds of requests. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I'm really immortal. Author, Chu Lian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 143. Lu Chang'an knew Yingzheng, and he did not lie to Zhu Huntang about this. The first time he talked to Zhu Huntang about immortality, of course it was just his habitual way of chatting. The second time Zhu Huntang asked again, Lu Chang'an told her more or less some real information. After that time, Zhu Huntang should be able to make his own judgment. People who can escape from Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum are not easily trapped, but Zhu Huntang probably doesn't understand that Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum is equivalent to another place isolated by layers of barriers. A world. Coming back from another world is a very difficult thing to do. When Lu Chang'an went to play cards at night, he met Zhou Shuling, who had been busy all day. Zhou Dongdong finished eating and went home to watch cartoons and wait for you. She left 2 candies for you. They are probably sour, Lu Chang'an said to Zhou Shuling. Thank you, Zhou Shuling smiled. I have completed all the procedures with Mr. Zhou today. When his son comes to pick him up, I plan to move in. It's just upstairs and downstairs. Move slowly, Lu Chang'an pointed to himself. If you hire a moving company, you don't have to hire a moving company. You can hire me. It's 50 yuan, all inclusive. Zhou Shuling shook her head and couldn't help laughing. Okay, 50 yuan, including rice and midnight snacks. Then it's settled. Lu Chang'an was about to leave when he saw Zhou Shuling holding a certificate in her hand and looked at it. I was passing by the kindergarten, and the teacher said that Zhou Dongdong had left the certificate in the kindergarten. Zhou Shuling spread it out, and there was no surprise. In the kindergarten, every child has a certificate. Award for most humorous work. The children perform their own shows, and each show will win an award. Humor? Did Zhou Dongdong perform telling jokes, or was it a sketch or something like that? She performs dancing. Is this certificate issued to the wrong person? No, she danced an airplane dance. She made it up by herself, and the teacher awarded her this certificate. Zhou Dongdong said she didn't want this certificate, because none of the other dancing children had this certificate. Lu Chang'an couldn't help but burst into laughter. He must have been acting humorously. Goodbye, I'm going to play cards. Lu Chang'an came to the grapevine stand, and Aunt Xie placed a green grape sifted through rice for everyone to eat. Local grapes like Junxia generally mature in July, and they are still a little sour when eaten now. But the taste is okay. The old people were slow to eat the grapes. They squinted their eyes and found a place to peeled them apart bit by bit, and slowly nibbled until the seeds inside were exposed. Then they squeezed out the seeds with a little force, and then they ate quickly with confidence. I know that for the elderly, swallowing the skin or seeds may cause choking and some problems. Aunt Xie is also very generous. Even if many people are generous, they will not give food to others. Maybe if you are kind and give something to eat, if someone has a problem with their food, they will have to trouble you. After eating grapes for a while, the card game started. Lu Chang'an made a big ambition to play a big game, but he couldn't succeed after a round of playing. Old Man Qian was eager to help Lu Chang'an as his replacement. Of course Lu Chang'an was not willing. I'll help you with a few hits to change your luck. Daddy Qian, if you want to come on stage, first pay me the 20 yuan you owe me, another person said. If I bring the money, I'll be here already. I love you, the mother-in-law in your house. You go, you go. Lu Chang'an had a good hand, and he just caught the opponent who was quarreling with Old Man Qian, and pulled him back. His opponent was Old Man Qin, and he wiped a few stray strands of hair on his head, pointed at Old Man Qian and cursed menacingly. Wasn't it that he was making noise nearby and disturbing his thoughts, so he could make such a big statement? If you can't do it yourself, just look for other troubles. Old Qian also touched his hair, took 2 leisurely steps, and then ran away quickly. This old man Qin has a bad temper. If he catches up later, then how unsightly. Slip away, slip away. Lu Chang'an played cards all night and won 16 yuan, feeling satisfied. When I got home, I remembered that I had only asked Ma Shilong to give him the little hens that he had given me for half a month. I had been preparing them myself for the past few days, which seemed quite expensive. It seemed that starting from tomorrow, I would still have to catch some centipedes and snakes, frogs, and the like. Lu Chang'an went to take a look in the carriage again. During this period, the coffin became quiet again. The little girl from the Shangguan family seemed to realize that she was still seeing Lu Chang'an when she woke up, so she simply closed herself off again. But Lu Chang'an believed that this time's dormant state was definitely different from before. There was no possibility that the next time she woke up would be 2,000 years later. Can this coffin be recycled? Even though the coffin was still drawing vitality and blood from her, Lu Chang'an had already felt that the powerful magnetic field possessed by the coffin had weakened somewhat. When the coffin no longer has that effect, she will finally wake up even if she can't think of it. As long as he wakes up, he will slowly recover all the feelings he had when he was alive, such as being hungry. This feeling is very important to Lu Chang'an. When people are alive, they must have desires so that they will not find life boring. Immortality without desires is terrifying. Satisfying the dissipation of the feeling of hungry is a kind of desire. She will definitely be hungry too. When she not only feels hungry for vitality and blood, but is as hungry as Lu Chang'an, she will always run out. So Lu Chang'an made preparations first, stood in the carriage and started reading. If you want to return to this world, you always need to add some common sense, and common sense should be based on history, so I will borrow Lu Simeon's book. Let me tell you about it. First of all, you are Han. Now we no longer emphasize the Han nationality. We talk about the Chinese nation. Our country has absorbed many foreign ethnic groups in the past. Because we have been in contact with foreign ethnic groups from time to time, we can strengthen each other. I take advantage of others' strengths to make up for my shortcomings. Although civilization is early, the situation is always new. Ethnicity and race are different. Race is about skin color and bones. The similarities and differences can be seen at a glance. However, after a while, they can become gradually mixed. Ethnicity is about language, beliefs, and customs. Although they are invisible and visible, they are powerful. Very big. Even though the similarities are divided, they must be reconciled, and the differences are. Lu Chang'an took Lu Simeon's A Brief History of China and started to read it word for word. As for the little girl's different opinions, she could not refute it now. Lu Chang'an was not expressing his academic opinions. This is similar to prenatal education. Lu Chang'an felt that he was conducting coffin education on a coffin. Lu Chang'an didn't close the carriage door. Anyway, the coffin had been put in the corner. You couldn't see the coffin unless you stuck your head in. After talking for most of the night, Lu Chang'an went back to sleep. In a rented room on the rooftop opposite, a young man took back his telescope and monitoring equipment and yawned involuntarily. Damn it, he thought. This guy finally opened the car door and was about to do something. Who knew this? Crazy spent the whole night reading history books there, and his historical knowledge immediately increased a lot. Thanks to Minecrafter's generous reward, a new leader has been added to this book. Thank you all for your support. The 4th and 5th updates are relatively late, so you can read them when you wake up in the morning. I'm really immortal. Author, Chulian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 144. When I woke up in the morning, there was probably a heavy rainstorm at night, and the uneven places were filled with water. Zhou Dongdong, who had been severely beaten several times, even though he found jumping around in the puddles very interesting, he didn't dare to play like this anymore. When Lu Chang'an got up, The rain was much lighter, as if a candy man showing off his skills could pull out thin silk threads and wind them around in circles. On rainy days, I could only rummage around the corners of the eaves and under the bark and leaves of trees. I found some snails, put them in glass bottles, and took them into the car. Some are good to eat, but you don't want to taste them anyway. There is an appetizer in the West called red wine baked snails. According to their way of cooking, it tastes a little uncomfortable. Although there are many types of snails, they are actually edible. There are only a few kinds, and the large snails are especially suitable for making various dishes. After Lu Chang'an talked about how delicious snails are, he continued to tell the coffin about general history of China. Today he is going to talk about the chapter Things from the Pamir Plateau. After the history class, Lu Chang'an went out under his big black umbrella. In fact, many people don't realize that when it rains, you can feel that the world is very different from normal times. It is an ethereal and mysterious feeling. As if another world has arrived, or space has overlapped. Otherwise, why do so many movies involving time travel and world travel take place in the rain? Rain, in some legends, is a sign that another world is opening its doors. Lu Chang'an held an umbrella and came to Nanda Middle School. It's not the finals yet, but Lu Chang'an already wants to watch An Nuan play. Of course, there won't be any security checks that are difficult to break through in this kind of inter-school competition. As long as Lu Chang'an comes, there is no way he won't see An Nuan. "Can I come in?" Lu Chang'an asked the guard. The guard glanced at Lu Chang'an and shook his head. So Lu Chang'an climbed over the wall and went in. Many people are unwilling to provide conveniences with a little effort. This is the rule. It is also indifferent, and there is nothing wrong with it. There are no obstacles on campus, as is the case in most schools. As long as you can get past the gate guard, you can wander around the school as you please. Lu Chang'an came to the gymnasium and stood under the steps waiting. The bus to the attached high school soon arrived in front of the gymnasium. An Nuan got off the bus and saw Lu Chang'an, a slender man holding a big black umbrella from a distance, looking at the water drops dripping from the edge of the umbrella with a casual expression. "Whoa, I'm very stressed today, and there are family members here to watch." "They are family members and coaches." "Hush, if you call Coach Lu Chang'an, Coach Chiu will go crazy." Go quickly, please, I'll give you some chicken blood." "I hate it, you go first." An Nuan accompanied the other team members into the gymnasium, but La did not go in at the end and ran over to find Lu Chang'an. Lu Chang'an heard the footsteps and turned around with an umbrella. He saw that An Nuan was actually wearing a skirt. Although she was still wearing flat sneakers, she seemed to have a different kind of lively innocence with a bit of girlish sexiness than usual. The air was moist and the skirt was not fluffy. "Why are you here?" An Nuan stood under Lu Chang'an's umbrella. Lu Chang'an turned the handle of the umbrella and threw the raindrops out. "I can feel that 30 years is short, but I can also feel that 3 days is very long. I want to see you." An Nuan put her hands behind her back, her cheeks flushed slightly, and when the cool air touched her, she realized that her skin seemed to have warmed unconsciously. Pursing her lips, the corners of her lips were still a little blooming. "Do you talk like this to others? Your mouth is getting sweeter and sweeter," An Nuan snorted. "Yes, I put honey on it. Have you tasted it secretly?" Lu Chang'an looked at Annan in surprise, with a slightly regretful look. "I didn't even know." "Disgusting." An Nuan jumped up and punched him, but weakly, blinking her eyes. "I have to ask you something. Are you really stupid or pretending to be stupid? I used to wear a black watch on my hand. Do you know what it means when you say my hands are white?" Lu Chang'an then thought about it carefully and nodded. "Confession." "Then what?" "I confessed my love to you. I gave you Qinwei alchemy before." "You're still mentioning that?" An Nuan was a little surprised. "You can't really take that as a formal confession." Lu Chang'an nodded, isn't this an obvious thing? What a slow girl. Others confess. And Nuan was funny and angry, others will say it carefully when they confess, I like you. What about you? What about you? What about you? That's so tacky. I read the entire book of songs and saw a lot of I like you, but I didn't see a single I like you sentence. That was before, but it's different now, and Nuan pouted. Actually, I said something, can't you feel it? Lu Chang'an poked in Nuan's forehead, why are you so slow? When, and Nuan tilted her head and looked at him, very confused. Thinking about it carefully, if he really said it, she would definitely have an impression. When I see you, my eyes are the way I like you, my tone is the tone I have if I like you, and even the frequency of my breathing is the frequency I like you, Lu Chang'an said helplessly. He shook his head and held in Nuan's soft palm, but since you think you have to say this, then. And Nuan raised her head and looked at Lu Chang'an. She found that the real confession made her even more nervous than that day. I like you. 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 Look into my eyes, listen to my tone, and lie on my chest. And Nuan's cheeks were flushed, and she looked into Lu Chang'an's eyes, his voice echoing in her mind, and she slowly fell into his arms, lying on his chest and feeling his breathing rate. It's because I like you. Everything was already satisfied. And Nuan leaned into Lu Chang'an's arms, held his hand, inserted her fingers into his and twisted them together. And Nuan is no longer an ignorant girl who only knows how sweet love is. From the moment Lu Chang'an finally started to take the initiative, her heart felt warm and sweet, as if some emotions melted away, but after all, she wanted a boy. Only when you say these words yourself can you truly feel at ease. Do you really like me? And Nuan's eyes slowly moved in her sockets, looking softly into Lu Chang'an's eyes. But why? Lu Chang'an thought for a while, maybe it's because your name is Nuan. Ah. There are 10,000 reasons for not liking someone, but one reason is enough for liking someone. Lu Chang'an couldn't help laughing, idiot, of course it's because I've known you for so long and I feel your cuteness and personality. Your long legs, your slim waist, and your beautiful face. Then if I look uglier, you won't like me, and Nuan revealed the behavior of a girl in love who is mentally retarded, which is characterized by first imagining an impossible condition and then getting angry. That's for sure. You, and Nuan looked in disbelief and glared at Lu Chang'an angrily. After staring at him for 3 seconds, she found that his expression did not change, but she laughed, but I happen to be what you like. That's why I like you, Lu Chang'an laughed. When you meet someone you just happen to like. After writing this chapter, I feel just right. I don't want to write anything more. I feel that writing in such a mood would be superfluous. I'm going to bed first. I will change my mentality and write a new chapter tomorrow, so there are only 4 updates today. For me, things like the 5th watch are indeed as hard to find as youth. I'm really immortal. Author, Chulian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 145. There are creepers in the wild. 0 exposure. There is a beautiful person. Clear and graceful. Encounter by chance. It suits my wishes. All encounters are beautiful arrangements from God. Zhengfeng, wild grass. Lu Chang'an held an umbrella with one hand and placed his other hand gently on Nuan's slender waist. His fingertips hooked the hem of his clothes and he could feel the temperature of his skin. The beautiful girl, with a slightly moist smell in her hair, leaned against his chest, as if the most beautiful words in the entire book of songs were describing this moment, refining those cheerful and joyful chapters and turning them into the scene in front of me. I hate it, I have to play ball today. The girl's heart softened, and her whole person changed. When she was charming, Words like people that usually seemed very pretentious came out of her mouth naturally. But after he finished speaking, he realized that he was a little embarrassed and it was all his fault. And Nuan raised his head and said, "I don't care. I didn't perform well today. It's all your fault." "Say what?" A majestic male voice sounded from behind. And Nuan quickly left Lu Chang'an's arms and looked at Coach Chiu behind him with a blushing face. "Lu Chang'an, why are you here?" Coach Chiu is a part-time coach of the team, so he naturally knows Lu Chang'an, who often appears in the gym to watch games. "I haven't seen An Nuan for several days," Lu Chang'an said sincerely. The feelings of a young man are inevitably fervent. I'm sorry." Lu Chang'an's upright and frank attitude was a bit shameless, but Coach Chiu couldn't say anything. He softened his tone and said, "Then don't affect An Nuan's performance. These are her last games on behalf of the attached high school." "No, I'm just kidding," An Nuan said quickly. "Look at the performance, go in quickly," Coach Chiu said to An Nuan seriously. An Nuan quietly hooked Lu Chang'an's finger and ran into the gym. Lu Chang'an looked at An Nuan's back, and what came to his mind was wild weeds. "I know you are practicing with the girls. It's really nonsense. Girls often can't do the skills of the men's volleyball team. The difference in physical fitness is too big." Coach Chiu patted Lu Chang'an on the shoulder, "But look, don't come out, you've always been quiet, and I've never seen you love sports. I even heard from the basketball team that you're also a good shooter." Lu Chang'an just laughed. Of course he paid attention to this. Just like the national men's volleyball team has always been weak, if it faced the world's #1 women's basketball team, it would be just as brutal. It would be nothing unusual to shave their heads. In sports, the difference between men's and women's teams is so big, so Gao Dui suggested teaming up with Lu Chang'an. Bai Hui and Miao Yingying would complain about his lack of common sense. Coach Chiu chatted with Lu Chang'an for a while, and when he saw that he was already here, he brought him into the gym to watch the game. After the first game, Lu Chang'an was protested by the coach from the opposite school and kicked out of the gym. Coach Chiu had nothing to say. Who told him to scream when he saw An Nuan performing brilliantly or dunking and blocking to score? The cheering sound is too loud and interferes with the game. After the game, the affiliated middle school team had no difficulty in winning today. Thanks to An Nuan's excellent performance, it took away the South German team 3-0. The rain also stopped. The girls changed clothes and came out of the locker room, preparing to gather and take the bus back. They saw Lu Chang'an still waiting outside the gym. Ma Yilin, Zhao Chenchen, and two other girls who had Lu Chang'an as their sparring partners started first. "Come over. You really injected chicken blood into An Nuan today," Ma Yilin said to Lu Chang'an. "This is not the effect of chicken blood, it is obviously the effect of female hormone secretion," Zhao Chenchen laughed. "But Lu Chang'an is too annoying. Just cheer for An Nuan." "Yeah, it feels like in his eyes, the volleyball team is like An Nuan alone. My dive to the ground to save the ball was so wonderful, he was like a blind man and didn't even applaud." "Yes, An Nuan, do you think Lu Chang'an is particularly annoying?" Nuan, hurry up and criticize your Lu Chang'an." "No, I like him the most." After An Nuan finished speaking, she took Lu Chang'an's hand. The girls were stunned for a moment. They didn't expect An Nuan, who always liked to show a shy smile, to be so straightforward and bold. "Okay, let's stimulate us again. An Nuan is as annoying as Lu Chang'an. So annoying. Come on, let's go have a big meal, not dog food. An Nuan will gather early tomorrow." Watching his teammates leave, An Nuan let go of Lu Chang'an's hand, put his hands behind his back, and stopped looking at Lu Chang'an, kicking the small puddles on the ground and walking forward. "You're so annoying. At the end of the first game, all the girls I met on the opposite side came to ask me if that was my boyfriend. Then you must say yes. I just said he was a nuisance, and Nuan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. You just said you like me the most. That was in front of my classmates. Of course I have to give you special face, and Nuan snorted. Actually, you just hate it. Coach Chu even scolded me. Then I hate you too. You dare. What do I dare not do? Lu Chang'an said coldly. Look, I dare to say that no matter how much En Nuan hates me, I still like her. Hateful, En Nuan became slightly nervous and put her hand into Lu Chang'an's palm. No matter how annoying you are, I will still hold your hand. Lu Chang'an held her soft palm. One more thing, I don't allow you to be cold-faced to me. I know you are joking, and I am also nervous. Speaking of nervousness, do you know why gay men like to eat snails? Because eating snails can cure hemorrhoids and anal contraction. What does this have to do with nervousness? Ha. And Nuan slapped Lu Chang'an on the shoulder, irritated. This boring guy always likes to talk nonsense like this. The two of them walked out of Nanda Middle School and were not in a hurry to decide where to go. It was raining lightly again. Lu Chang'an held an umbrella and the two of them walked casually in one direction for a while before deciding to go to the new building on the second floor of the Bailong Center. Eat at the open food court. Why are you always touching my waist? After getting off the subway, Lu Chang'an felt that En Nuan was touching him intentionally or unintentionally while in the carriage. No, En Nuan refused. Do you think I'm sexy? Lu Chang'an thought for a while and said. Can you? You are so shameless, and Nuan wanted to hit someone in shame. I'm obviously a gentleman who observes etiquette, but I don't even touch it. How did you know my size if you didn't touch it randomly? I just want to know your size, and Nuan had no choice but to tell her intention. She didn't know how Lu Chang'an did it. He couldn't even touch it by himself. There is no way to determine Lu Chang'an's body size. I'll send it to you later. No more, and Nuan looked angry and reserved. Lu Chang'an just smiled and pulled her into Bailong Center. Don't you ask me what I want to do, and Nuan couldn't help but ask. You wouldn't tell me if I asked, and I like surprises. Then don't expect too much, and Nuan didn't have much confidence, and suddenly felt a lot more pressure. The gap between his and Lu Chang'an's abilities in some aspects was too big. The two of them came to the food center and looked up at the various food types together. They unexpectedly saw Gao Dui sitting on his seat with his eyes squinted and dozing off. Bai Hui and Miao Yingying were looking at the menu and pointing. So En Nuan and Lu Chang'an walked over and shared the table together. There is another chapter today, all kinds of requests. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I'm really immortal. Author, Chu Lian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 146. I'll eat hibiscus powder and add shrimp, Miao Yingying was ordering. I want the sizzling steak fried rice, Bai Hui said. The two were about to order when they saw En Nuan and Lu Chang'an. Miao Yingying waved her hand and asked them to sit down. What a coincidence. I just finished playing volleyball. Yes, there is a football match in Anyuan now. I was pulled out by Miao Yingying. Gao Dui yawned and laughed unexpectedly. I was just talking about asking you two to come to my house to play when I find an opportunity. Miao Yingying and Bai Hui only know how to eat all day long, so we can't play together with them. I'm trying to save face for your parents, they are so enthusiastic, Miao Yingying defended embarrassedly. I'm accompanying Miao Yingying, Bai Hui actually secretly added fuel to the flames. She is Miao Yingying's best friend, and of course she will help when Miao Yingying realizes it. Didn't you say you want to organize another class reunion before the college entrance examination results come out? En Nuan looked at Bai Hui and suggested enthusiastically, then let's go to Gao Dui's house. His house is quite big. I've been there, Bai Hui nodded. That day Gao Dui asked Lu Chang'an to go to his house to play, and I was there too. I know, Lu Chang'an told me, and even took a photo of you rowing to show me, and Nuan smiled calmly. Lu Chang'an is very good at rowing, but it's a pity that I'm holding him back. Yes, kayaking requires tacit cooperation, and you can't just find someone to partner with. I have been practicing for a while, and Lu Chang'an's teaching is also very good. I didn't expect Lu Chang'an to be very familiar with Gao Dui's family. When we went to pick vegetables together, I tested him several times and couldn't give him a hard time. So, I like Lu Chang'an. The conversation came to an abrupt end, but An Nuan still looked calm. She casually scanned the order code on the table and asked, "Have you ordered? Let's order together." Miao Yingying turned her head gently to make eye contact with Gao Dui, only to find that Gao Dui stretched his head to look at the menu on An Nuan's phone. She didn't even notice that the conversation just now was filled with swords, shadows, and secret moves. You came and I went back and forth, and finally he was An Nuan kills with one move. Bai Fen's cheeks turned red. What did An Nuan mean? If you like Lu Chang'an, just like Lu Chang'an and don't care about other people's business. Who told you this? Lu Chang'an, let's have 2 legs of lamb and 10 skewers of crocodile meat. Gao Dui made his choice. Okay, let's have some more juice. What do you want to drink? Lu Chang'an looked up at the girls. I drink bayberry juice, Miao Yingying whispered. Then just give it all bayberry juice. Bai Hui also calmed down. I drink sweet wine, and I don't like sour wine. And Nuan asked Bai Hui and Miao Yingying what staple food they wanted to eat, and placed an order. The lamb leg that Gao Dui mentioned is actually a lamb shank with lamb shank on it. It is first soaked in cold water and hot water and cooked. The starting method is similar to the lamb head meat made by Lu Chang'an, except that it needs to be braised after cooking. Add dark soy sauce, light soy sauce, green onions, ginger, bay leaves, peppercorns, cinnamon, bay leaves, rock sugar, etc. to marinate, then bake on the rack. Not every kind of meat is suitable for making delicacies with the freshest and original flavor. Lamb is rarely made fresh. This roasted lamb leg is also a flavor more suitable for the public. I'll post a survey in the group to see how many people go. Bai Hui mentioned this matter again. The key is to communicate with Uncle Gao in advance and ask about the venue and cost. If there are many people but few people, we always have to get together. And Nuan nodded. Bai Hui and An Nuan have always been the organizers of class activities. They talked about things seriously, but they didn't use guns and sticks in their words. I guess after the results come out, it will be difficult for everyone to get together again. Gao Dui sighed softly. The venue fee for this event will be waived. I sponsored all kinds of ingredients such as fruits, vegetables, pigs, mutton, fish, and my classmates. This is the last time in 3 years. How much will you charge? If you think you need anything else, if we don't have it at home, then you can discuss and buy it yourself. Ah, how can this be done? It's a lot of money. Miao Yingying glared at Gao Dui. I'll take charge. Lu Chang'an habitually accepted the job. Okay, let's rent a car and meet at the gate of the attached high school to set off. And Nuan said to Bai Hui. She knew Gao Dui's temperament and strength, and there was no need to be polite to Gao Dui. Then I'll go to the group first and explain that this event is sponsored by local tycoon Gao Dui. Bai Hui said with a smile, secretly spitting in her heart. Miao Yingying, this stinky girl, now knows where to turn her elbow. Landlords are the real tycoons. Lu Chang'an patted Gao Dui on the shoulder and said. You and An Nuan stay the night, and we play mahjong all night. Gao Dui suggested. This is how you meet your opponent in chess. 3 of you playing mahjong? 3 people playing mahjong? That's boring. 4 people will test your skills. Bai Hui is not an expert at playing mahjong, but he knows this. It's very difficult to fight 3 masters against an ordinary person, you know. Gao Dui waved his hand and explained proudly, if you are on the field with all masters, your opponent will not mess around. You can calculate all the tiles carefully, which is the fun of mahjong, but if a fool sneaks in and plays randomly, it will be difficult for the other 3 people to count the tiles, you know. Bai Hui and I teamed up, but we can't compare to you alone. Miao Yingying was very unconvinced. It's not comparable. Lu Chang'an shook his head, but it's just for fun anyway, so let's beat 4 people. 3 people can't eat, and it's too deadly to fight. Lu Chang'an has spoken for you, so let's come together. The last time we fought with you, it was just me and Lu Chang'an playing around. Gao Dui, I said nonchalantly. I heard that you let Bai Hui and Miao Yingying dance all night last time, and Nuan said with a smile, but she didn't mean anything else, she just thought it was fun. Miao Yingying and Bai Hui were both a little embarrassed, but they wanted to avenge their shame. And Nuan, can you dance? Gao Dui, I asked. Bai Hui and Miao Yingying danced in pajamas. Others thought they were great dancers. Am I a great dancer? Bai Hui didn't want to lose face in front of an Nuan. I dance Send the Moon, God's Drift, Green Snake, Pure Land, Wing Chun. You let's check first, which one is the best dancer? What kind of dance do you like me to dance? And Nuan looked at Lu Chang'an. I want to learn it. Let's tango. Tango is danced by 2 people. Bai Hui felt that Lu Chang'an was not familiar with everything. Yes, dancing alone and watching alone is not as interesting as dancing together. Lu Chang'an smiled. I hate it, I won't dance with you. And Nuan turned her head shyly. The juice was served, and Bai Fen lowered his head to drink it. Why was the bayberry juice so sour today? Didn't the people who made the juice know how to put more sugar in it? Thanks for your support. I'm really immortal. Author, Chu Lian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 147. Bayberry juice is generally made with fresh bayberries and honey, and can also be called sour plum juice, but most cheap sour plum juice is brewed with powder. Since it can be called sour plum juice, it is naturally sour, sweet, and appetizing. How can it be called sour plum juice if it is not sour? I'm going to the bathroom. Bai Hui put down the bayberry juice and said. I go with you. Bai Hui and Miao Yingying went together, and then stood by the sink talking. Bai Hui looked at herself in the mirror and felt that her face was extremely white. Lu Chang'an and An Nuan have confirmed their relationship, Miao Yingying said with great certainty. Nonsense. In the past, the 2 of them only seemed to be very ambiguous. It felt a little bit worse. An Nuan was always secretive and refused to admit it openly. Today, he directly declared his sovereignty. Miao Yingying clicked her tongue with emotion. I thought after they graduate from high school, maybe they will become indifferent. After all, although Lu Chang'an's usual grades often fluctuate by 100 or 200 points, he will definitely take the college entrance examination seriously. He may enroll in the same school as Gao Dui, but An Nuan he always said that he would never leave Shonan. When we volunteered for the investigation, Lu Chang'an said he would go wherever An Nuan goes, Bai Hui said irritably. Then let's talk about it, right? Do you think they are just talking? I'm envious. I don't know how many points this idiot Lin Xin can score. Aren't you and Lin Xin still quarreling? Well, don't talk about me anymore, but I think you are not completely hopeless. Bai Hui blushed in surprise and hesitated. What nonsense are you talking about? What hope do I have? You and An Nuan were secretly competing just now. Apart from the 2 fools Gao Dui and Lu Chang'an, couldn't I see it? An Nuan's doing this shows that she cares. If she feels that you are not a threat to her at all, how could it be like this? Miao Yingying analyzed confidently. Who is competing? Bai Hui felt that there was no such thing, and stamped his feet. You think so, and Lu Chang'an must think so too. You really think he is a fool? Your Gao Dui is really stupid, and Lu Chang'an is just pretending to be stupid. My Gao Dui, let's go, stop talking and go eat. The 2 of them returned to the dining table, and some of the things they had ordered were already served. When Lu Chang'an saw the 2 of them, he said implicitly, Everyone has eaten some. I hate you, you are so disgusting, and Nuan punched Lu Chang'an in disgust. She was always the first to realize Lu Chang'an's bad intentions. Haha, they must have been full after being here for so long. Gao Dui also understood and laughed. Lu Chang'an is so funny. Bah, Lu Chang'an, everyone is eating, you disgust us, don't you disgust yourself the same way, Miao Yingying said angrily. When I say everyone, I mean that the three of us started eating some. You have to twist my meaning. Lu Chang'an refused to admit it and greeted, eat. Bai Hui rolled her eyes at Lu Chang'an and thought with some certainty that because Lu Chang'an was so annoying, and Nuan had a unique taste and could stand him, she would never like him. Miao Yingying thought too much. After dinner, the five of us went to the supermarket. After this period of observation, I found that girls have more animalistic characteristics, while men are obviously more characterized by the evolution of human social civilization. Gao Dui and Lu Chang'an fell behind. How can I see it? You see, in the animal world, males and females have a clear division of labor and each performs their own duties. But in modern society, men are basically competent or have the characteristics of the evolution of human society and civilization because their occupations are more diverse. Sex. Gao Dui pointed to his belly, besides not having children, what else can we not do? What you said makes sense. If you have time, discuss it with Miao Yingying. When I told her, she would just look at me confused and not understand at all. I think that in the natural world, the natural settings and laws are irresistible. Men are born with stronger bodies. This makes it impossible for men and women to be truly equal under the current situation. Human nature is evil, it is impossible to expect that the progress of civilization will eliminate such inequalities. Just like the so-called free and democratic political system has been regarded as the end of civilization in the early years, but it has not eliminated war in this world, and the law of the jungle is strong. That's the truth. Gao Dui nodded. Because of human nature, the world cannot be peaceful. This is the same as the inability to eliminate inequality between men and women. The awareness and efforts of some people cannot change the natural setting. Only when human beings become spiritual bodies, and in a state of consciousness, only when they survive and are freed from the shackles of the body, can men and women truly be equal. Of course, there was no so-called distinction between men and women at that time. Lu Chang'an was a little hopeful but confused. This was the future, he thought, but in such a future, whether he would be willing to leave his body and become a conscious body, he couldn't decide. For others, this problem is too far away to consider, but for Lu Chang'an, this does not seem to be a decision that is too far away. Listening to what you said, I was enlightened. I plan to study this aspect in the future. When I become a conscious body. Gao Dui is very looking forward to it. When he becomes a conscious body, he will not need to face his parents urging him. Things like finding a girlfriend. Lu Chang'an smiled. This was the case many, many times in his life. He did not do something, but intentionally or unintentionally prompted some people to do things that promoted certain civilizational achievements. Of course, he didn't think that what he said would trigger Gao Dui to become a master in the field of research on human beings breaking away from the shackles of the body. However, just like he would throw beans randomly to see if sprouts and bean sprouts would come out, it was a fun feeling after all. You see, the fruits here are so expensive. And Nuan ran over and pulled Lu Chang'an, and naturally crossed their hands with Lu Chang'an. What kind of crappy dates are these, costing 200 yuan per kilogram? Gao Dui was surprised. After more than a month, my jujube tree will be full of fruits. You can climb up and eat to your fill. Bai Hui took a box packed with 1 pound. It's too luxurious, Miao Yingying said. I just want to try whether 101 kilograms of dates is more delicious. Bai Hui shook his head. I think if you eat these dates every day, that's luxury. If you just want to experience it, it's okay to be more expensive. Yes. Just like saving money to buy a brand name bag is not a luxury, it is a necessity, but buying it casually is a luxury consumption. Boring Gao Dui, I thought for a while, couldn't understand, and walked away. I think from a girl's point of view, Bai Hui is right, and Nuan smiled and pulled Lu Chang'an away. I will go to your house for dinner tonight, and you will take me back after dinner. Certainly. Bai Hui looked at the dates in her hand. She didn't know why she was gambling. She probably said this just to tell herself that she was a realistic and material girl, so she wouldn't treat An Nuan as a treasure. Lu Chang'an. I'm going to bed first. I'll refuel when I get home tomorrow. Good night everyone, sweet dreams. I'm really immortal. Author, Chu Lian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 148. After dinner, the five of them wandered around Bailong Center. In addition to places to eat and drink, there are also many places to play on the two underground floors. The consumption is obviously aimed at ordinary citizens and working class people. It is also a good place for students to hang out, and students shopping doesn't necessarily mean going to the counters of shopping malls. It's often just a matter of checking out what's interesting in stores of all sizes, buying some juice and milk tea to drink along the way, eating some snacks, taking photos, and chatting, which is quite fun. Bai Hui paid attention to An Nuan and Lu Chang'an. She found that An Nuan and Lu Chang'an were holding hands many times when she looked at them. However, when she was walking in front, she found that Lu Chang'an and Gao Dui often had their arms around each other. This meant that An Nuan and Lu Chang'an were holding hands. Nuan holding hands was a bit of a show to Bai Hui, but Lu Chang'an actually didn't like being clingy with An Nuan that much. But why do you care about this? Bai Hui thought about it carefully and felt that it was just because she had never been in love and didn't quite understand what it felt like, so she naturally had to observe. My mother. And Nuan was suddenly startled. Hey, I remembered it. She said she was getting glasses with Aunt Ling today. Lu Chang'an turned around and saw Lu Yuwang and another charming woman on the opposite floor walking into an optical shop called Pui. And Nuan reached out and turned Lu Chang'an's face towards her, and then said nothing. My fault. There is a beautiful scenery next to me, but I looked around. When there is any eye tracking attachment in the future, I will install one to set the focus to lock you, so my eyes will not wander around. Lu Chang'an thought for a while. This invention, do you think it has market prospects? Yes. There will be one for each girl, and Nuan said with certainty, and asked Miao Yingying and Bai Hui for support. What do you think? Then I have to comfort a girl like you to make my boyfriend willing to pretend like this, Miao Yingying said enviously, and then asked Gao Dui next to her, Fat man, what do you think? Is it okay to be blind? Okay, Bai Hui agreed with Gao Dui, but Anyuan's mother looks so young. I've seen her at parent-teacher conferences before, and she looks pretty. Yes, they say it's Sister An Nuan. Hey, Lin Xinhua called me. 10 minutes later, the five people met Lin Xinhua. Lin Xinhua obviously didn't come from home. He had been in a nearby chain internet cafe for the past 2 days. His hair was messy and greasy, and he was wearing a black t-shirt. His whole body exuded the unique smoky smell of staying in the internet cafe for a long time. Long time no see, Lin Xinhua greeted the others. Miao Yingying tilted her head and looked at the sky. I plan to take a year off from my freshman year to pursue a career, Lin Xinhua said straight to the point. What do you think? The three girls were all startled and looked at Lin Xinhua in surprise. Very good, do what you want to do. Gao Dui patted Lin Xinhua's shoulder. I still remember when I was a freshman in high school, you helped our class win the battle with the class next door. At that time, I felt you're a gaming genius. Gao Dui, what are you talking about? Bai Hui looked at Gao Dui in disbelief. Even though she wanted Lin Xinhua and Miao Yingying to break up, she didn't think it was a good thing. Are you crazy? Miao Yingying couldn't accept it and looked at Lin Xinhua angrily. You should think about it again and fill out your application first. The summer vacation is so long. Discuss it with your family. This is not a trivial matter, and Nuan gave the most sensible advice. No matter what, it's your own choice. As long as you don't regret it, just do it. You will bear the consequences anyway. Whether other people's words make sense or not, whether they are kind or not, is just meaningless chatter after all. Lu Chang'an, he cupped his hands and said, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't do it, you won't be willing to do it. You will have no regrets when you are young. If you really can't survive in the future, I will teach you how to cook a few dishes. The three girls looked at Lu Chang'an and Gao Duai together. Why are all boys like this? Lin Xinhua showed a look of relief. He didn't expect that there would be people supporting him after all, and it was Gao Duai and Lu Chang'an who didn't usually play well together. He had talked with several good buddies, and they either joked or ridiculed him, saying that he was doing nothing. Daydreaming, going crazy and the like. Actually, I passed the DSB club's trial training a long time ago. I was playing live broadcasts at their club base a while ago. I have been working on points in the past 2 days and ranked first in the Korean server. Lin Xinhua was full of pride. I played with them during the summer vacation. The team practices together, and if we get along well, we can hit the LPL in the summer split. DSB Club, Miao Yingying sneered, it really suits your temperament. It's the abbreviation of Dangerous Superboy, which means the team of violent boys, Lin Xinhua said with some embarrassment. I think it's the abbreviation of DASHA, BI. Miao Yingying said angrily, I'm warning you for the last time, if you do this again, we will break up. Miao Yingying was categorical, the atmosphere was cold and very stiff. And Nuan wanted to say something to smooth things over, but Lu Chang'an held her hand and smiled, other people will make their own decisions about other people's affairs. Whether it is right or wrong should not be decided from our standpoint. Miao Yingying, Lin Xinhua just wants to do his own thing, why are you threatening him like this? Gao Duai looked at Miao Yingying in confusion, even if you are boyfriend and girlfriend, why do you want to interfere with other people's choices? Look at it, and Nuan would never treat Lu Chang'an like this. And Nuan wouldn't do this to Lu Chang'an? You asked Lu Chang'an to play games, do you think An Nuan supports it? Miao Yingying glared at Gao Duai. She didn't know why, when these words came out of Gao Duai's mouth, Miao Yingying became angry. I still felt a little depressed and sad that I couldn't express. Lu Chang'an looked at An Nuan and smiled. If he goes to play professionally. An Nuan replied instinctively, but couldn't help but think about it carefully, and suddenly felt that if Lu Chang'an went to play professionally, she really wouldn't react as violently as Miao Yingying, so he laughed and said, then I will be his fangirl. Don't talk about it here. This matter is not decided in a day or two. If you have anything to do, talk about it in private. Bai Hui pulled Miao Yingying and said to Lin Xinhua, Yingying is not threatening you. Girls have their own considerations and acceptable bottom lines, you can think about it yourself when you go back. Lin Xinhua hesitated for a moment, looked at the two sides with clear stances, nodded, and said to Miao Yingying, I'll call you. I blocked you. Miao Yingying left without looking back. Bai Hui quickly chased after him. Lin Xinhua touched his head. Excessive. Gao Duai looked at Lu Chang'an and An Nuan, then let's break up today. We should still have a party. Let's play tomorrow. Lu Chang'an nodded, took An Nuan's hand and walked to the other side. I am coding, and I have various requests. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I'm really immortal. Author, Chulian Kui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 149. Girls are always sentimental. There is no girl whose emotions are not like silk woven by drizzle, moist and soft. If touched lightly, it will wrap around the fingertips and break into pieces, turning into fine and dense mist. Hazy and full of sorrow. Will we break up in the future? En Nuan suddenly asked. If we break up, I will die in front of you. En Nuan punched Lu Chang'an, pouted and smiled. Although his answer seemed casual and perfunctory, En Nuan did not dwell on the matter anymore. Lu Chang'an just confessed his love to her today, and he felt like the moment when a bear took a picture of a bee nest. Bees all over the world were buzzing around, stinging all over the head, and trying to insert their claws into the honeycomb. Honey, when you stick out your tongue and lick it, you will feel intoxicated. Only then did En Nuan feel that Miao Yingying really shouldn't force Lin Xinhua like this. Although Lin Xinhua's considerations were not in line with the mainstream public, Miao Yingying now asked Lin Xinhua to give up his ideals for her. In the future, if the two of them wouldn't Lin Xinhua regret or be unwilling to not be able to get to the end. By that time, Lin Xinhua might not have realized his ideals and would be unwilling to do so, but he might not end up with the girl who prompted him to change his life. En Nuan thought of Lu Chang'an's words. In these matters, Lu Chang'an was unexpectedly mature, unlike boys of his age. What do you think of Miao Yingying and Lin Xinhua? En Nuan asked, suddenly feeling that he had an exclusive gossip partner. This was a completely different feeling from chatting with the sisters. His opinions and views were more important and more satisfying. She is interested. How about what? It's just what you think of their relationship and stuff like that. No opinion. Say. I want you to say it. En Nuan pinched Lu Chang'an's little finger and bullied him. Even if they fell in love, their previous habits of getting along would not change. It would always be En Nuan bullying Lu Chang'an. They are not a good match. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. Miao Yingying and Bai Fen are similar. In Bai Fen's eyes, Lin Xinhua is not an excellent dating partner. Although Miao Yingying is with Lin Xinhua, she is actually not with Bai Fen. Likewise, I don't think Lin Xinhua is excellent. In other words, especially during the period of close contact with Gao Duai, Miao Yingying will make comparisons, and she will gradually feel that Lin Xinhua is not as good as Gao Duai here and Gao Duai there. Feel. Gao Duai, does this matter have something to do with Gao Duai? Of course En Nuan has a good relationship with Gao Duai and knows Gao Duai very well. Gao Duai became the trigger for others to break up. This feels so absurd, just like someone said it was all the moon's fault. Gab. Bai Hui may not mean it, but she will definitely prefer Miao Yingying to be with Gao Duai, and she will express it unconsciously, giving Miao Yingying a hint that she is more suitable to be with Gao Duai. This hint is it is very common in daily life, and Miao Yingying will gradually accept this kind of hint, and then she will lack expectations and respect for Lin Xinhua, becoming someone who can be together and it doesn't matter if they are separated. What you said is so irrational. En Nuan felt that what Lu Chang'an was talking about was not gossip at all, but behavioral psychological analysis. No matter how much feminism is promoted and demonstrated, in fact, when girls lack respect and admiration for their male partners in daily life, their relationships are prone to crisis. Miao Yingying does not think that gaming talent is worthy of respect and admiration, but she admires Gao Duai. Of course Lu Chang'an could tell, although she didn't think she was in love with Gao Duai, admiration can easily be converted into love. Why didn't I see that Miao Yingying admired Gao Duai? En Nuan didn't have this kind of vision. Many people can only accept criticism, teasing and ridicule from those they recognize, and it is easy to feel that their own self-esteem is bearable. You see, Gao Duai often describes Miao Yingying in a fair way. Miao Yingying and Gao Duai quarrel, she won't really get angry, but Lin Xinhua can easily make her angry. Lu Chang'an smiled slightly. This is a direct manifestation of not putting Lin Xinhua on the same level of respect as Gao Duai. It's not because she and Lin Xinhua are the same. We are friends, so we can get angry easily. Do I also admire you? En Nuan looked at Lu Chang'an with great suspicion. You often mock me too. I don't even want to be angry with you. Yes, even if we are boyfriend and girlfriend, if you don't admire me, if I ridicule you during our daily conversations, you will be really angry. Lu Chang'an nodded. I'll let you, and Nuan felt that even if Lu Chang'an said Miao Yingying was reasonable, and Nuan was an Nuan. And Nuan snorted, you are bullied by me every day, and you are not powerful at all. Then I'll let you worship me. And Nuan's eyes were shining brightly, and she looked at Lu Chang'an's back expectantly, and hurriedly followed him with small steps. Lu Chang'an ran with An Nuan for a long time, and there were beads of sweat on An Nuan's forehead. As he looked around, his feet were put together and he jumped up and down. Lu Chang'an saw a singer who was singing. He had a guitar hanging around his neck, a microphone in front of him, and a mobile phone broadcasting live. There was a large QR code in front of him for passers-by to join him. This is the standard for busking nowadays. It would be too pure if the busking is not broadcast live. Lu Chang'an scanned 50 yuan and said to the singer, brother, can I lend you your equipment and do you a favor? The singer glanced in front of An Nuan, who finally stopped jumping around and showed a slightly shy smile. Okay, but I want to live broadcast. The singer took the mobile phone and the live broadcast stand. This kind of thing always attracts attention, and the audience also likes to watch. No problem. All happy. Lu Chang'an borrowed the guitar, hung it around his neck, and plucked the strings. Look, everyone, this guy is ready to be romantic. His moves are professional. The singer turned to An Nuan while live broadcasting, this super beauty, my god, how could I agree, I should have said no. An Nuan was slightly shy and fiddled with her hair. Hello everyone, I am a reborn person. Lu Chang'an gestured towards the camera. The singer couldn't help but laugh. An Nuan looked around. Fortunately, there weren't many people stopping on the street at this time. The scattered glances didn't put any pressure on An Nuan. She was just standing anywhere, just like the scenery. Beautiful girl. Actually, I am very old. I have had many regrets in my life. When I am reborn and return to today, like the protagonists of many rebirth novels, what I want to do is to express my love to the beautiful girl who has been dreaming of me for many years. Lu Chang'an pointed at An Nuan and shouted, An Nuan, I like you. An Nuan pursed her lips into a smile and bit her lips, shy and sweet. He had said this sentence many times today, but it was still very moving. The guitar rang, the prelude of a song that was familiar to An Nuan, a song that was often played at home. A song called Ghost Confused by Li Zongsheng is the old man's confession to her, thank you. Someone asked me where are you from? I still can't forget it after so many years. No matter how beautiful the spring breeze is, it can't compare to your smile. People who have never met you won't understand. It may be that a ghost has lost his mind. It may be due to the fate of the previous life. But all this is no longer important. If you can come back to my arms, it might as well be fate. It doesn't matter if it was your intention to tease me. But all this is no longer important. I'm willing to follow you to the end of the world. Although time always makes people grow old in a hurry. Although love is always annoying. Although we don't know what the future will be like. After Lu Chang'an finished singing, he continued to use the vicissitudes of life and mature voice in the song to say, I am very lucky that I can be reborn to this day. Everything will be completely different because of my confession. I don't know if you have a chance to be reborn. But I think you all have a chance to be brave and express your love to the girl you are thinking of at this moment. An Nuan ran over and hugged Lu Chang'an's neck. Her eyes were moist. At this moment, she seemed to feel that Lu Chang'an had really been reborn. I'm fascinated by you, Lu Chang'an said to An Nuan. I admire you, An Nuan said. Go express your love, boy. Don't wait to be reborn. It's the end of the month, so give me a monthly pass. If you feel something, take advantage of this feeling to express your feelings. If you succeed, remember to come back to support me. I'm really immortal. Author, Chulian Kuikan Ru Siahua. Chapter 150. Lu Chang'an returned the guitar to the singer. Brother, you're ruining my performance. I don't even dare to sing anymore, the singer said excitedly. Can anyone who dares to come out to do a live show and perform without a little hearing? Even without very professional equipment, this song's playing and singing are at the top level. Is anyone buying gifts? Lu Chang'an's focus was not on singing. The singer took a look and said excitedly, "Thank you for being still young, and the rampant mouse and 2 friends for the rocket." Lu Chang'an was satisfied. Although he didn't like watching live broadcasts, it was natural for people to cheer for him when he was doing live broadcasts. After all, it was rare to see such a level in his life. "Let's go," still playing tricks, and Nuan took Lu Chang'an away. "Come again," the singer shouted. Lu Chang'an and Nuan left, and Lu Chang'an turned to look at Nuan. "Do you know why I was so cooperative with you just now?" And Nuan didn't want to admit it anymore. "I had an idea, so I pretended to admire you." Lu Chang'an laughed. "You have to know that there were a lot of people in the singer's live broadcast room just now, which means that he is very popular, and in a very popular live broadcast room, it is very simple to recognize you and spread the gossip." And Nuan was proud. Said, "Didn't you two have a very happy chat just now and didn't say anything?" Lu Chang'an sighed. "Woman. Huh, you know that too." And Nuan was not surprised that Lu Chang'an guessed who she was targeting. "You are somewhat famous on the internet. After I recognized you, Bai Hui was pretending not to be cool a while ago. In response to the ambiguous relationship between you and him, he was defeated, collapsed, and crushed by this beautiful girl who coexists with wisdom and beauty." Awesome, awesome. Lu Chang'an didn't think about these things. Girls' minds are naturally complicated. This is the king's way of upholding righteousness and natural justice. So since ancient times, girls have fought for a status, life or death. And Nuan continued to sigh. "A side path like Bai Hui's is useless. I thought you guys had exposed this matter." Although the two people had an occasional confrontation just now, they didn't talk about the original incident at all. They didn't expect that Bai Hui would be targeted as soon as he turned around. Things between girls count 50 years before and 50 years after. "Then I'll buy some rice noodles." "I'm not proud enough yet." "Why did you change the subject? Why are you buying rice noodles? You are proud of yourself." "I want to eat rice noodles tonight." "Then I'll eat rice noodles too." And Nuan followed Lu Chang'an back to his community and took the initiative to let go of Lu Chang'an's arm because she remembered that many people liked to look at her. Her mood was different now, but she was still a little shy in front of the elderly. Lu Chang'an bought a rooster, a hen, and extra spicy chili peppers at the vegetable market. "Girlfriend. Xiao Liu's girlfriend is so beautiful. The little girl is pretty." The discussion made Nuan blush shyly and become a little excited. It was the first time that she was being watched like this as her girlfriend, and she felt that she had grown up. "How do you think they knew I was your girlfriend?" And Nuan lowered her voice and asked Lu Chang'an in embarrassment. "You look like a little daughter-in-law, can't you tell?" "Hate it, I don't." And Nuan stamped her feet and saw Zhou Dongdong sitting under the sycamore tree from a distance. In order to get rid of the slight embarrassment, she ran over to tease Zhou Dongdong. Today Zhou Dongdong tied up 2 ponytails and wore small airplane hairpins. This type of headdress is rare. After all, few girls like small airplanes. On one side, they will choose butterflies, flowers, and small ones. Cute style like cats. Of course, small airplanes are also cute. "Zhou Dongdong, what are you reading?" And Nuan greeted Zhou Dongdong as he walked away. "I'm eating," Zhou Dongdong said, reaching out to scratch the page of the book, and then put it into his mouth. And Nuan was confused and took a look. It turned out that Zhou Dongdong was reading a recipe book with drawings. Is it delicious? And Nuan couldn't help laughing. It's delicious. I'll give it to you too. Zhou Dongdong's hand grabbed the book again and opened it in front of Nuan's mouth. What I'm giving you now is crayfish. Is it delicious? It's delicious. And Nuan nodded, smacked her lips, and looked like she was enjoying it. It's my turn to eat. Zhou Dongdong continued to eat. And Nuan smiled. Children are especially able to indulge in their own fantasies, just like playing house, pretending to be various things. Lu Chang'an took the recipe over and flipped through it casually. Zhou Dongdong, your mother asked you to learn from the pictures, right? In front of Zhou Dongdong were several books that normal kindergarten children would read. I can learn by looking at pictures of food. Sister, I'm here to teach you how to read pictures. This is an animal book. And Nuan opened the picture book and said, Zhou Dongdong, what is your favorite little animal? When he was with the little girl, and Nuan consciously used cute words. My favorite little animal is a dog. Why? Because dogs are man's most loyal friends. Because dogs are cute and delicious. Although Nuan also eats dog meat, Zhou Dongdong's answer. The chicks are cute and delicious too. The piglets are cute and delicious too. Red pandas are cute too. Sister, have you ever eaten pandas? You already know these little animals. Sister, I won't teach you anymore. Just keep reading the recipe. It was the first time Nuan saw such an over-the-top child, so she took the recipe back and gave it to Zhou Dongdong. Then I'll feed you whatever you want to eat. Zhou Dongdong opened a page at random. Brother Chang'an will make rice noodles for you to eat tonight. Stop eating books. You will be full in a while. Zhou Dongdong quickly put down the recipe and ran over to see Lu Chang'an preparing to kill the chicken. Can I light the fire? Zhou Dongdong remembered the last time he and his brother Chang'an ate goose. There is no need to light the fire today. Go and put a bucket of water for me. Zhou Dongdong ran to work, and Nuan quickly came over and said, I can help you kill the chicken. For you. And Nuan dumbfoundedly took the cock that Lu Chang'an had stuffed into her. He actually stuffed it into her and then left. Oh my gosh, Zhou Dongdong can let go. If he can't kill chickens, wouldn't he be a failure? And Nuan hugged the flapping and struggling rooster, suddenly in a panic. Lu Chang'an entered the room and put the bucket on the fire to burn. Zhou Dongdong could only twist the bucket and put it under the faucet to drain the water. After doing this, Lu Chang'an took Zhou Dongdong out and handed it to Nuan. He took the rooster back and waved his hand, take Zhou Dongdong to play for a while. Nuan pouted aggrievedly, because she disliked herself for being in the way, so she had no choice but to hold Zhou Dongdong's hand and leave first. The character function appears. After reading the chapter, click to enter the comment area of the book page. You can give your favorite characters a thumbs up.